Hello students, I welcome you all to this very interesting session of International Marketing Research. Continuing with the research methodology that you did in the first semester of your MIB program, this is a further continuation of the qualitative type of research which is gaining a lot of importance today as understanding consumer thoughts, perceptions, their opinions and their interest has really become very, very important apart from the quantitative researches that have been earlier done by most of the organizations. Like we discussed in the earlier classes also, that the basic difference between quantitative and qualitative research is with respect to the nature of the research, where quantitative is more based on understanding the metrics and the objective evaluation of certain key measurements, for example, sales, revenue, budget allocated, the frequency and visit to malls, and so on. But apart from the actual data that the consumer shows on sales and a number of visits to a particular store, evaluating the subjective norms is also very, very critical for brands to understand how to formulate the future marketing strategies and policies. That is why today's session will focus core on qualitative research, under what circumstances it should be used, what are the ways of using it, and how the limitations can be managed by the research companies and the research managers better, so that the final outcomes can be much more meaningful and relevant, and can also help marketing managers take better decisions about advertising, about brand elements, about packaging details, and how to convert the customers better. Moving on the qualitative research, like I discussed, it's an unstructured, primarily exploratory design based on small samples intended to provide insight and understanding. So wherever in-depth understanding of consumers is required and the organization cannot go in a structured and systematic manner, qualitative research will be undertaken. So it helps in gaining better insights. It helps in understanding the subconscious mind of the consumers, the hidden needs and the preferences, which may not be very, very visible and very practical if you undergo the quantitative way. So many of the examples that we read in the market also, where certain colors are changed by certain brands. Sunsilk entire range of shampoos were collaborated with hair experts and then they were relaunched with a new packaging. Even Estee Lauder, they changed the shape of its product by making it round rather than square or anything else, because it matches with the curvaceous bodies of women, which women always take very proud of. So a lot of examples we see in brand elements and advertising are more based on the subjective understanding of the opinions, where narrative thoughts come into picture and help marketing managers take better decisions. Moving on, as I discussed, that companies may use them for new product idea generation and development, like Sony launched Walkman on the basis of that consumers want a portable audio product to enhance their music experience to a next level. Similarly, investigating current or potential product, services or brand positioning and marketing strategy so that the changes in the marketing can be better understood and you can modify the 4 Ps, the marketing mix of the product, like Timex did when they were losing the market to other foreign brands, and to reposition and reinvent their brand so that it can be more meaningful to the youth. Strengths and weaknesses of products and brands, why they are not doing well, why they are performing well, how competitors are taking them, what problems the salespeople are facing in the market, are very of the few areas where qualitative research is very, very productive and meaningful. Even exploring market segment such as the demographical segments, psychographic segmentation, why electric vehicles will be accepted and adapted, why small cars are losing the sheen. These all are very subjective analysis of the changing consumer mind, which requires a continuous research and upgradation so that the brand managers and the marketing managers of these companies and the brands can formulate more appropriate decisions to cater to the consumers better. Moving on, let's see what are the various tools and the procedures and the methods which are used by qualitative researchers that primarily are divided into direct and indirect. Now let me just throw light here on what actually it means. We are here evaluating the hidden agenda among the consumer mind, which the consumer may not be very comfortable with. These may be some sensitive questions about income and taxation. These may be certain touchy areas which are taboo to talk about in the social arena. So many of the tools are used in a disguised manner so that the consumer does not know about the main research objective, but still opens up about what he feels or what he likes and does not like about that particular brand. So under the direct method, where the consumer is well aware about what he is being questioned on and what the brand is seeking, we have two kinds of methods. One is focus group and the other one is in-depth interview. Let me take you through the basic difference between these two. In-depth interview is a one-to-one interview where very few consumers can be questioned. Those consumers are maybe long, loyal consumers, they may be industry experts, and this qualitative research will question few of them or for a long time, where entire list of questions will be there, and through a laddering questioning technique, the consumers will be taken from simple questions which are more classified to more difficult questions to answer. So it is a time consuming process, but yes, less sample size if available, this technique can be very, very meaningful. And through a regular deliberation of questions, we as researchers are able to dig deep into the consumer psychology and what his changing perceptions are. So many of the new product launches, many of the innovations are only launched after doing this in-depth analysis. The second direct or a non-disguised method is focus group. So focus group is where you have a limited sample to question, and that sample or the people can be called in groups so that a better discussion can be facilitated, and those people, when they will sit together, they will do a discussion, they will evaluate, they will be influenced by others. Then the facilitator or the moderator will be able to take the discussion towards his analysis and what he wants to know. So for example, Nestle is launching a new cereal with a flavor of maybe cucumber or maybe beetroot, which is more healthier for the small babies. So they would like to ask new mothers about their preferences of giving packaged cereal products to their kids, which are small babies beyond the age of 6 months, whether they are liking that particular taste or not. What are the views of new mothers on giving these packaged food? So maybe Nestle can call 8 to 10 new mothers in a group, and then a moderator with a certain set of questions will help facilitate this discussion. So when the new mothers will discuss their apprehensions, their liking, their preferences, the problems that they face in feeding the kids, then maybe the researcher would be able to understand the subconscious issues that new mothers face while they are taking the baby to the main food items. So through this, better discussion takes place, and new learning and new insights can be gained because the group dynamics will come into play. Moving on to the indirect methods or the disguised methods, which are called as projective techniques. So students, as the name itself say, projective techniques, they project the liking, the preferences, the hidden motives and the subconscious mind of the consumer by not directly telling him what he is being questioned on, but putting him in certain shoes where he's supposed to behave in a particular manner so that the final answer actually reveals what he thinks about. Under that, we have four kind of methods. So one is association techniques, in which we have like word association. So if Mother Dairy wants to know that what is the preferred flavor for kids below the age of 5, so they will give them some words. Like the first thing is ice cream. So in word association, the kids will be asked to give those words that come first to their mind. So through this, they'll be able to understand that which flavors are the most preferred ones. So this is one kind of association technique. The other kind of association technique can be a cartoon test, where the consumers assume that they're associating a particular purchase with what they've learned during their upbringing. So if mothers say that you drink milk, so the association which they have with milk drinking can be evaluated when a new milk company is launching a brand, or maybe new flavors are being launched in the milk segment. Similarly, we have completion technique. So under completion, we have story completion and we have sentence completion. Under sentence completion, you may give a sentence which is half baked to the consumer and ask him to complete the remaining half. Through that, the person is able to comprehend their own thoughts into completing the statement well. For example, if I am a loyal consumer of Dove, the sentence may be, I like Dove because, and then the remaining sentence the consumer has to complete. Similarly, in story completion, you may just give a paragraph or few lines of a particular situation which the consumer generally faces, and they are asked to write a complete story of what happens next. So it is assumed that a projective technique, while not asking directly, would come to analysis where the consumers will talk about their hidden ideas and motives, which they may not say in a focus group interview, in an in-depth interview, or in a survey. The third and the last one are construction techniques. So in construction techniques, we have thematic or perception test, where people may have a different view of the same picture which is being shown to the consumers. You have a cartoon creation test, where a situation has to be created by the consumer in a funny and creative and cartoon manner. The last one is expressive techniques. Expressive again has a role play which will come into picture. So expressive techniques build on the premise that if we ask the consumer directly what are his thoughts, he may be hesitant to share or would not want to say what he exactly feels. So expressive techniques like role play, which puts the consumer in the shoes of some other role or character which they have to play, and they're asked to play that character. But we also know that even when we are someone else, what we say and how we act is an outcome of what we are. So for example, a couple comes for taking a loan from HDFC. So the consumer is supposed to behave like a loan manager. So he says, okay, but whatever he will tell to the couple regarding the loan agreement and the possibilities, and what he will talk about, why you should take the loan or not take the loan, will be an expression of what he actually thinks about it from inside. So this is a collaboration of all the various techniques under disguised and non-disguised methods, which are very helpful in doing qualitative analysis and helps the research companies dig deeper into the hidden motives or hidden agenda which the consumers feel and cannot open or express very candidly. Moving on to the last part of the presentation and the topic today, the limitations of qualitative research. Like we all know that many errors are there in research and not always the research is foolproof. So marketing success and failures are based on small differences in marketing mix, which really cannot be evaluated deeply all the time. Qualitative research doesn't distinguish these differences as how quantitative research is able to undertake. Maybe the sample is too small and the people we choose may not be true representative of the population of the interest, and large number of sample would be the answer, which is not possible in case of qualitative research. The multitude of individuals, they do not have a formal training in expressing their views sometimes, and even when you have the best of tests created, those answers may not be that legible and make any meaning to you. Similarly, certain errors and limitations at the researcher end, where the questionnaires are not formed correctly, the skills of the questioning person or the interviewing method is not that appropriate, the communication skill is not that valid. These are researcher-based errors and limitations which may impact the final outcome of the qualitative research. I would like to conclude the session for today by giving you a small assignment for you to work upon so that we can have a discussion later. So for the next class, develop few questions that moderator would ask to a focus group where 8 to 10 people are there to evaluate the acceptability of electrical vehicle in India. So you may just brainstorm and think about what the facilitator should say so that people are able to bring out their hesitations and their preferences towards electrical vehicles. Number 2, create word association test and story completion test for new flavors of ice cream being launched by Amul in the summer season. Write down at least 7 to 10 questions to be administered during in-depth interview to an automobile expert regarding the future of diesel vehicles globally. So these three are the application based questions which I would like you to undertake as an assignment and submit to me in the next class, so that qualitative research can be better understood, and tomorrow if you are part of such a research project, you'll be able to complement and complete the work that the company has given you, and you can be a better manager in taking the key decisions that impact your consumer segment. So I'm looking forward to seeing you soon in other sessions of international marketing research, and remain updated on the latest research news coming in the market, and read research articles on a daily basis.